Good to go. All right, we shall call to order termination of a quorum. The date today, first of all, is January 10th, 2024. It is now 6:01 p.m. And I'm Billy Trujillo, the chair.
Jane Burt,
Sam going.
Teresa Sanfilippo.
Todd Carter.
All right, we have a quorum. So first and foremost, we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Everyone stand, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pledge of allegiance to the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Read the agenda item here. Consider and act on an application for a variance to section 27 sign regulations, section 5, class 5 major freestanding signs of the zoning ordinance to allow for a pole sign greater than the allowable height and copy area. The property is owned by BW Gas and Convenience Retail Store LLC and legally described as Lot 2, Block A of the Arnold Addition, addressed at 921 South US Highway 377, generally located on the northeast corner of Redfern Road and South US 377. Before we open the public hearing, are there any requests for postponement or jurisdictional issues that anyone would like to raise? If no, we'll move forward. Will there be anyone looking to speak tonight in behalf of the variance? Okay, I ask that you stand. Do you swear that the testimony and evidence you shall give to this board in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Sure. All right, who'd like to go speak first? You know, Jenny, Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, let's open the public hearing. The time is now 6:04 p.m.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair and Board. My name is Helen Eve Beadle, and I'm your planning consultant for the City of Aubrey on this particular project. I haven't met you before, so thank you for the opportunity. It's nice to be here this evening.
Welcome.
So this is, as you said, it's a public hearing for the new Alsip's Valero station. It's at the immediate corner of 377 in Redfern. This is an aerial exhibit to familiarize yourself with the location. The applicant is requesting a variance to the sign regulations to allow pole sign standards for freeway frontage in this location. And US 377 is categorized as a principal arterial on the city's master thoroughfare plan, and that's based on a 140-foot right-of-way. And there was a previous site plan that went through the Planning and Zoning Commission and City Council review, but it didn't include any of the pole sign information. So that's another reason why this is going through the review process. This chart is in your packet. It is an explanation of the code allowance for what US 377 is considered a principal arterial. And then there's the second column that identifies the signage that's allowed for freeways. And then the last column are the proposed calculations from the applicant regarding the signage. So a traditional sign or a regular pole sign could be approved in this location with city council approval through the site plan review process for what's in that first column. And that's based on US 377, the right of way, and the actual locations, the allowable square footage for what we call copy area, and then the sign height. So what would be allowed is 100 feet of copy area and 24 feet in height. Then the proposed, they're wanting to go to 144.52 and square feet for copy area and 35 feet height. And this is the site plan application, the actual drawing for the site plan, and it locates the sign in the lower left-hand corner. You can see it's right at the property corner is where it's being proposed. The image to the left is the complete sign. I know in the chart earlier, it had the overall allowable. So what you see here is what they are proposing is the total copy area of 144.53. I know a moment ago I said 0.52. There are a couple of discrepancies in the drawings that were submitted and some of the text information.
So 10 by 14,
Yes. Excuse me?
144 square feet.
Total.
Sorry, go.
Total. So the top sign, the Alsip sign is 5 by 10, 50 square feet. The Valero sign is 51.20 square feet. And then the price, the digital pricers are 43.33. The pole is set back 5 feet from the property line and the maximum proposed height is 35 feet. So these are the breakdowns for those three. I was asked to put together some objects for scale, just so you all can, get a feel for how big the signs are. Now, granted, when something's way up in the air, it appears a lot smaller than it actually is. So say a parking space is 9 feet by 18 feet, a typical parking space. So that's 162 square feet. A single billboard is 10 feet by 30 feet, 300 square feet. A king mattress is 39 square feet, and a side-by-side refrigerator is around 17 square feet. So hopefully those help you visualize what each of those sign panels might be. We put this sketch together based on the elevations on that site plan that I showed you earlier. The sign elevation along Redfern is right at 669 feet. That's elevation. And then the fuel center, as well as the main Allsup's store, they sit at 668 elevation. That can help you understand. We're really looking at a flat plane. It's not, the store and the canopy. It's not down in a pit, and it's not up on a hill. Some other comparison signage is we have for you the Chicken Express. Now this is a kind of unique because it was an existing sign that was relocated due to TxDOT acquisition. And the city, you all adopted a new sign ordinance earlier, a year ago in January of 2023. So when we have signs come in, especially when you've spent all that time and energy adopting regulations, you want the applications to come in and follow those regulations. So when you start testing an ordinance and start granting variances, it can get a little bit tricky. That's why it's good to have an ordinance and follow the standards that your leaders adopted. So for example, the Chicken Express sign that was an existing sign relocated, it's 27 feet in height and 14 feet wide at the top at the medallion. We don't have sign information for this sign on the actual copy area, and we don't have it for any other signs in the city. The sign permits, I think, were handled a different way, so we don't have that historical data. to be able to present to you this evening. If you said, well, what is the Sonic, or what is Point Bank? What are those? We don't know what those are. So this is the only information that we have, physical information. And then also to see the scale of how the existing sign sits with rooftops for Chicken Express and the Sonic, you can see in the background. And another one would be Dollar Tree and O'Reilly's. And the Exxon a little bit further north on 377. At this point, I'd like to turn this over to the applicant, because the applicants are here to speak on behalf of their application request, and would be happy to answer any questions a little bit later, and before we actually close the public hearing.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, board. First off, my name is Tommy Reynolds from Dallas, Texas. Been in the sign business for about 37 years. So been doing this quite a while. And what I really want to say first is thank y'all very much for having this, especially for us, and appreciate your time to be here. I am here representing Comet Signs, and I'm Senior Vice President, Astone. Recently sold our company, and I'm still on board, but I'm demoted. So anyway, I've got Molly Brown, who's been working on this for quite a while. She works on the Allsup's whole process, and so she has a lot more information than I have on this. I'm here to give you any general thoughts and ideas. I do have a lot of stuff in my mind on sizes and stuff that goes on with the sign industry over the years. And so, you know, I would just like to say, I would appreciate you listening to Molly and anything. And then if there's questions of me, I'm more than happy to answer them. That's my book.
Thank you. Marla?
Hi, how is everybody? It's a little echoey in here. I'm in a room that's not really ideal. Because I couldn't be there in person. So yes, we are presenting
Ask you to
this.
state your name, please.
Chairman, I was gonna say she needs to be sworn in as well, and she's on camera. I don't know that she stood up and raised her hand earlier and swore in, but she needs to be sworn in.
Okay, sure. So is there anyone online that would also be speaking besides Molly? If so, I'm gonna need to be able to swear you in, please. All right, do you swear that the testimony and evidence you shall give to the board in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Anyone else that would be speaking that needs to respond? Okay, thank you. Proceed. Nope. You're muted.
Okay, sorry about that. Technical difficulties there. I'm not sure what else additional I need to add to it at this moment without knowing what you would need to know. It is a new sign that we are proposing at the 35-foot overall height, 144.5 square feet. We are doing this due to visibility, to be able to see this sign for truckers, for people coming in from the freeway heading north on 377. We do have some slides, and I can't tell if you're able to see them or not because it's not showing, it's showing me. And we have some slides on there that show the visibility from the road when you're heading north. It's going to be hard to see in comparison to, like, if you had it as a standard size for this code, which would have been the 24-foot overall height and 100 square feet, it'll be blocked. You can't see it coming on that roadway. The speed limit is 50 miles per hour. So they're going to be coming in pretty quickly. And we feel like the sign would not be as visible in its original, in the sign code's original plan for this street. we feel like there's enough traffic that comes through this roadway that the sign would need to be of the larger size. We're not maxing it out in that next category. We just would like it to be more visible, and would require it to be higher so that it can be seen easier over the trees, over the power lines, and a lot of things that are right there in the roadway. So, do you have any questions?
Is this the? Hold on, they're trying to bring up the slides here.
So this gives you the visibility, looks like headed north on 377. With the setback, obviously the yellow mark where it is kind of took away a tree. So actually this sign will be sitting behind that tree, not in front of it. And then there's another picture that shows it going southbound.
Yeah, don't think that we have the southbound. And I can't see what you guys are seeing. I was able to see it earlier, but I can't now. But we have it when you're heading northbound. When you're heading, when we were doing the tracking on the highway, when you're heading from the southbound, you still do have visibility problems with power lines and things like that. But northbound is where most of the traffic that we were, tracking and keeping up with. And the visual that I have on there was showing where the sign would be if it was behind the trees. Those trees are a neighbor that we don't own that property. So
I might bring something else up, up and down 377, and I'm not 100% sure, but I think you have billboards on 377 within Aubrey. And those are, in fact, one of the slides showed it to be 300 square foot on a single 10 by 30, but a lot of the ones I've seen up and down 377 are what's called a double stack. So there's two of them, one on top of each other, close to 600 square foot. And I'm going to estimate and say that those signs are at least 40 foot in the air because they're as tall as power lines and power pole going down 377 is approximately 40 foot.
I'm sure those have been there for a while, though, right?
Oh, I'm sure. Yes, sir.
Any questions from you folks?
Well, I don't, did you state what our current ordinance is on signage when you were first started speaking?
Yes, sir. It's in the chart for this type of roadway, US 377, it's the first column, what would be allowed, but city council still has to approve a pole sign. Your sign ordinance says pole signs are prohibited. However, council can grant a pole sign with these regulations. So the first column is what council might approve if they did approve a pole sign in this location. Why you all are seeing it is they're wanting the larger sign, the last column. They want a variance granted for a hardship for a larger sign.
And what is the hardship?
Visibility. I mean, honestly, the trees on that property to the south.
Yeah, I drive that road every day and there's so much to look at. You just can't even, it's overwhelming when you drive down that road, to me personally.
So can you expound on the hardship itself about visibility? What is the impact, right? I'm still struggling with visibility being the hardship. What is the impact?
Well, he stated it was just the trees that are on that property of
But impact to
Just
the
south.
business, right? Impact to the business. What's the hardship? You're asking for a hardship. The hardship
Correct.
variance is visibility. So if it wouldn't be approved, what would be the impact to?
You know what, we could get Allsups to do an impact study and they could tell you really quick what that would be. I mean, with the sign, what's called the right-hand read or the sign face that faces the right-hand read, which is easiest to read, easiest to see when you're going down any road. When it's on your right hand, because everybody reads right first. That's almost completely blocked by that tree. I mean, it's blocked even in the wintertime when it doesn't have any leaves, and then when you have the leaves, it goes away. Obviously, if that was their property, they would probably remove the tree. And, you know, down the line, the state may remove the tree for all we know. But that hardship will, not allow passersby to slow down fast enough to turn in on time. That doesn't mean they can't go down a ways, turn around, come back, and go in. But it is what signs are used for, is identity. And hopefully people stopping because they want to stop and use a Valero fuel and like all subs because they've been in town forever. Those kinds of things. But it's, you know, signs are all about identity and brand.
So the hardship, so if I look at it right, based on what you're telling me, is the hardship really is the customer might not be able to see your sign in the business in town due to the speed limit and the obstacles around the sign. That okay. Have a better understanding of the hardship now.
I guess the difference they're talking about is 40 square feet. Which
Yep.
is,
Well, and 11 feet higher.
That's square feet, not height. The height difference.
The copy area is 40 square feet. The
30 be 11 foot higher,
width is 11 feet.
11 foot higher.
Yeah, 44 square feet, like bigger and 11. feet
and 11 feet higher.
Yeah,
Yeah.
11.
Correct. Correct.
So yeah, so people could see it over the trees.
So their variance is all three, then all
Right.
of it.
The height and the size, yes. Mhm.
Their variance or question is the whole sign, basically.
And, the slide, exactly how high was the Chicken Express sign?
27.
27, that's what.
27, yeah.
That was just 2
8
feet.
foot higher there.
Yeah, it's
8 foot higher.
8 foot high. Chicken Express.
With nothing
Sign
around.
will
the
be
chicken.
higher.
Sign
Sign
is
is higher to that. I don't know, it's on higher plateau. I don't know.
It was grandfathered in.
Any other questions from the board? I don't have any further questions. Yeah, you good?
Arch of the square footage. That was all my questions.
I do have a request. I think that the hardship application should be updated accordingly, because when I read it, it's not very indicative of what the real hardship is based on what I hear.
So there's criteria for hardship based on state law when they're asking for variances. This is a sign ordinance, so this might look a little different, and I'll look to Helen because she's the one who has the most knowledge of the sign ordinance hardship. Is that the explanation of hardship is that's the only criteria that's identified in the ordinance for them to expound on. They're not required to put anything with regard to the topography or anything with the property under the sign ordinance. Do you remember?
So if there was a sign there previously and they're remodeling the sign, the hardship would be a little different at that point. But
Well-
there's no sign there.
I mean, I think the hardship criteria, there's hardship. I think the chair asked the question with regard to hardship to the business, which is different than what is the hardship to the property without this signage being
Well,
provided to the property. So, and I heard him say visibility. And so I want to kind of just focus you back in on hardship to the business, a concern that somebody might have to turn around and go around. That's not really something that's related to the actual, property, unless they're saying that someone can't find it unless they see the sign. And I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth. So I just kind of want to redirect us to make sure that hardship is really based upon why they need these things, why they need a larger sign and why they need a taller sign based on the specifics of this piece of property is what really what the board is to consider.
So we would need to update the application to state that the sign size and having to be or asking to be larger, if we have the smaller size that is required under the sign ordinance, it could cause a loss of business, because if somebody misses that they are there and they passed it at 50 miles an hour, if you're an 18-wheeler, it's not going to be easy to turn around on that highway. You're going to end up going somewhere else. We're right there at the south end of Aubrey. We're one of the first ones, and we're, that would be the loss of business then to include in our hardship. We were looking more of the reason we have this hardship. I probably should have added that would cause a loss of business. There's not a lot of lines, by the way, that made it a little bit more difficult.
I think you're okay. Based
The loss of business it's a business factor, but what the board is focusing on is the need that this property dictates for the signage. So that really is the visibility, which is what it sounds like y'all are saying. Financial hardship with regard to somebody might pass you by and not come back is not really something that the board would look at, because that's not really properties. But
Understood.
visibility, right?
Okay.
any other questions? Thank you, Gene. Anyone else have anything else to add?
I guess the only thing else I was going to say, sorry, was this is a location that's not a singular business. It does have two. So that is another thing to take into account, if that counts. Sorry, kind of throwing that in last minute, but just wanted to point that out. So.
Confused on two.
So they have the fuel, which is the Valero, and they are Allsips. Allsips manage all of it, but just wanted to explain that there are two different parts of that pole sign, so that we have in that scope of work. Sorry.
As far as signage and as fuel pricing is, that's what.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. I think we're good to go. I think we can vote. And we're gonna close the public hearing, and the time is 6:29.
So just keep in mind that the vote of the board tonight is, as Ms. Beadle explained, is with regard to the size. Ultimately, the council will decide whether they will approve a pole sign at this location, but that it's twofold. So if the board decides to allow a larger sign tonight, then the council would still have to come back to determine whether they were going to actually allow the sign to be there.
Okay,
If the board decides that they are not going to allow the larger size, then council would be voting whether to allow a size or not to allow a size as allowed in the district.
thoughts on the voting? Take a vote. Do I hear anything to deny the variance
We'll need a motion.
motion? Motion to deny? Is there a second?
I'm sorry, motion
To
to
deny.
deny.
Any second?
I second the motion to deny. I think no, that's fine. I think the ordinance is sufficient.
So. Oh, right. I do deny. All in favor?
Vote denying.
Denying?
Deny.
All in deny. All in favor? All opposed. All opposed.
All opposed, all opposed.
I was like listening to it.
It's so confusing when it's a motion to deny.
Yes. Right. I think there's no additional agenda items for tonight. So we're gonna. Oh, yes, we have. Considering action and approving the minutes for the following meetings, September 25th, 2023 and October 30th, 2023.
Motion to approve the minutes.
I second.
All in favor?
All in favor?
All in favor?
And the time is now 6:32 and we shall adjourn.
I do have a question for the lawyer. Can I ask you a question?
Thank you.
No?
You can ask me after.
Okay.
We're adjourned.